Hey guys, I wanted to talk to you about choices and options in a situation where you may have a cancer diagnosis from a doctor and are wondering what to do. And in most cases, people who write to me say the doctor is pressuring them to start chemotherapy or radiation or both right away, if not sooner, like instantly. And if you don't, you might die, even though well, we'll get into the other detail in a minute. But let me tell you for a minute that most cancers, and there are a few exceptions, but most of them take a long time to develop, and they've been in the system for a long time before they can ever get noticed. So in a lot of cases, in my opinion, and this is not medical advice, of course, because I'm not a medical doctor, you don't have to decide and start chemotherapy in the first 2 hours, okay, or even in the first day. Or in general, I've heard from lots of people who take at least weeks to figure out what their options are, and it's really a smart idea in most cases, in my opinion, because it's your body. The doctor, you know, is going to tell you what to do, but it's you who have to live with the results. So I would suggest taking your time and really finding out. Don't be pressured. Again, this is not medical advice. If you want medical advice or having a disease diagnosed or things like that, go to your doctor, they'll be happy to give you the drugs and the surgery and remove the organs that you need removed and give you radiation and chemotherapy. You already have all that information. This is just kind of a look for a few minutes at the other side that the regular doctor is probably not going to tell you about. The side that comes from the natural health teachers, many of whom deal successfully with cancer cases as well, without destroying the body in the process. And over the last 50-some years, I've spent a lot of time with different well-known and not so well-known health teachers, including Ann Wakemore and Gabriel Cousens and Edward Group and Bernard Jensen and Robert Morse and others, and trying to learn from those people, as well as some of the previous ones like Arnold Ehret, Paul Bragg, a lot of older ones that you may or may not have heard of. And there are common threads in what they're all trying to do. And in general, if they're in the field of natural health, they're trying to understand how the body works in ideal circumstances and how it's trying to get back to that all the time. That there's a life force in the body that is the only source of healing, whether it's from cancer, a cut on your finger, or anything else like that. It's the inner healing intelligence, the conscious life force that does the healing, not the doctor, not even a natural doctor. They just can give you pointers of how to work with that life force. But if you're going to get healed from whatever's going on with you, the life force inside you, the consciousness, that's where the healing will come from, not from the doctor or anything like that. It's what treatment or support will allow that life force to work better, and that's really what we're looking for. So all of these great natural health teachers, especially the raw food teachers and the ones who are teaching natural detox and fasting and things like that, they're all saying that if there's what's called a disease condition in the body, whether it's cancer or anything else, something out of harmony in the body, it's usually a result of a combination of negative factors out of harmony with nature. For example, toxins coming in from food that you shouldn't be eating, or drinking poisonous things like alcohol or soft drinks or things like that that we're trained to think are not bad for you, and even though it's not true. Foods grown with chemical fertilizers and pesticides, certainly GMO foods, also external sources like radiation from Wi-Fi systems and other microwave sources, radar, cell towers, cell phones that you don't know any better, and you carry it on your body. Women carry them in their bras and in their shirt, and men have them in their pockets. And this is not a smart thing to do, but we've been taught that it's all fine, it's approved and all that. It turns out that most of these agencies that are approving things are all corrupted and tied in with industries that are making money off the disease from the things they're supposed to be regulating. So that's not something to be all upset about. It's something to take action about, take charge of your own education, learn about what to do, how to take care of your physical body, which is an amazing conscious life form in itself. Sorry for I'm not teaching karate here. I'm trying to keep the little flying things away from me long enough to make this video. I like the environment. It's a beautiful place, but they're all out for Halloween, so sorry for that. Anyway, there are toxins that come into the body that poison it. Toxins mean they're poison. They could be in the food or things we drink, like the city water often has horrible poisons like fluoride and chlorine and lead and other things in it. So you want to be drinking good water. Other ways that the food is corrupted. Take some time to learn about that, but I highly recommend that you do it. Things that you put on your skin, or shampoos or makeup, some lipsticks have lead in them, and you need to, it's too bad to have to put all this attention into it, but if you don't, you have to pay the consequences in it. It's actually nicer to just be able to study, and it's kind of interesting too. And even if you've already been diagnosed with something, even if they say it's really terrible, it's going to kill you right away or whatever, you know, you're going to die. Typically they'll say, well, you're going to die from this, but you have to take this treatment starting immediately, and the treatment may kill you and you're going to die anyway, but if you don't do it, you might die. And we're just trained to accept nonsense. You got to stop when something like that comes up, and if you really want to do the work, analyze the details of your lifestyle, because that's really where most of it comes from. And the environments you're in, like, you know, maybe you don't know any better and you've got a Wi-Fi router in your house or in your office. All kinds of other toxic things. You're using household chemicals that are absorbed in your skin as cleaners or other things, and you don't know about the better alternatives. You got to teach yourself about that. And see, the body's got a system built into it that's for getting rid of the poisons that came in through your skin, through your hair, your face, or through your food or water, or, you know, the mess that's caused by the radiation from smart meters and cell phones and all that. The body's got a healing system, and it's not a drug, it's not a supplement, it's not a miracle natural product even. It's built into your body. Nature and the consciousness in the body is really smart. And if you learn about that, that's where the most powerful healing actually is. So if you look at a situation like cancer, tumors are just a reflection of something that's almost always a systemic problem. It's not impossible that it could be mostly local, but in general, you fix the systemic problems that are in your whole body, and then the localized manifestations of those systemic problems are going to clear up. If things are out of balance, the delicate self-regulating systems start breaking down. You can't really understand all the details of that because they're almost infinite. Medical science thinks it's really doing a great job and has pretty good understanding of all this stuff. That's not true. It's barely on the surface, and even the things they do have an awareness of, they're misinterpreting almost all of them. So it comes back to you having to learn how to take care of your own body. And in cases of cancer, usually it's very slow progressing over many years before it's even detectable. So the idea that you have to act on it in one day or everything's lost, that's usually not true. If you have surgery to remove a tumor, then that can remove the visible symptom, but not the cause, which is systemic. And sometimes you have to do surgery, like if there's a tumor that's blocking an artery or something that's critical, then you may be forced to have that taken out. But to get rid of the systemic situation is going to require work on your part. And if the doctor tells you it doesn't matter what you eat, it's not his or her fault. They don't know, but it's not true at all. In fact, the opposite is true. It's really critical that you understand all about it. Radiation, you know, also may possibly kill the manifestation or the cells in a tumor, but radiation kills really good cells too. It's very dangerous. One of the little problems with it is that it actually causes cancer. And using a treatment for cancer that causes cancer is probably not brilliant. And we're supposed to be so impressed with the medical industry that we don't notice that little problem. It's even more so with chemotherapy. And, you know, just calling something therapy doesn't change what it is. And if you learn the history of chemotherapy, which there are videos on our site that talk about that, and many others, I mean, Natural News has talked about it a lot. A lot of other great sites have. It goes back to mustard gas that was left over in World War II. It's really beyond belief horrible. It goes into the main vein, into a main vein in the body, either in your chest or a femoral vein, or somewhere in your body that's going to saturate your entire body. And what it kills first is the fast multiplying cells, like the ones that grow your hair or the bone marrow, which, you know, you need those things. It's not good to kill them. And there are options. So the only real option that I know of, that, and I've looked back thousands of years, if you read the Essene Gospel of Peace, Book 1, it's in there, but it's in all kinds of sources. It's been taught since the beginning of humanity on this planet. And the only alternative I know is that one. It's to reverse the causative factors. In other words, stop poisoning yourself, obviously. Or it should be obvious, right? The doctor may not tell you that, but it should be obvious. And the other one is activate your body's own detox systems, which are very well developed. They work on cleaning up the whole body from the inside out. Every one of the trillions of cells that have toxic deposits in them, the body's capable of removing them, taking them out through the intercellular fluid around the cells into the lymph system, and through the kidneys and the gut and the skin and the breath, and everywhere that it can get out. If you know how to support that process, it's not a magic product. It's a process that's been there before any products existed. And supporting that is what I would consider the best way to get over any named disease that you could get. But in order to make it work to the best that it can, you have to include some consciousness changes that are really critical, because what you feel and think affects every one of your cells in real time. That means like right away. And so you've got to change negative programming into positive, not by faking it, but there are ways to really, really change it. And then the systems that have been developed over thousands of years tend to work really well. For example, ones that use juice fasting, raw food, water, eliminating the intake of poisons as much as possible in the environment that we're in now. These systems were used by Dr. Gerson starting in the 30s in Germany, and Rudolf Bruce in Austria, who had tens of thousands of late-stage cancer patients fully recover. That's called curing somebody, except you're not allowed to say cure now. So I repent from saying cure, but that's really what it is. Not that Rudolf Bruce cured anybody, but that he taught people how to go on a juice fast in a certain way and let the body have the energy to reverse all of the buildup of cancer in the system. It worked great. If you want to read about it, get a hold of a book called The Bruce Cancer Cure, and that's BREUSS. If you want to read about Dr. Gerson, who wasn't really I don't think he had as high of a success rate as Rudolf Bruce, but still some amazing, great work. Max Gerson was his name. He was in Germany. He's got a book called something like Results of 50 Cases, I think. It should be on Amazon. Also, Dr. Morse does a lot of great work with cancer patients. He's in Florida at Dr. Morse's Herbal Health Club. Hippocrates Health Center has done a lot of good work on cancer cases. Also, True North Fasting Center in California, Santa Rosa, California. They've had some really good success as well, and they use water fasting, which allows the body the energy to detox itself. In Mexico, the place that I've heard of recently that sounds really good and doing some great work is called Hope for Cancer. And I heard about them from Dr. Group, and they've got 2 major centers. I think one is in Tijuana, one in Cancun, if I remember right. They're on the internet. But to work correctly, these detox natural systems, they need the consciousness change. So the best way that I found is to actually become aware of the programs running in the back of the mind and start to communicate with mind in special ways to change those. If you want support in that, or sharing your experience, what you're going through with whatever disease you're dealing with, or just life situations, because the same consciousness changes, they will improve relationships with yourself and with others, and that goes together. We meet once a week, and I'm there in person, and you can join us if you'd like to. That's called Planetary Healing Club. We support all these natural approaches and teach you consciousness tools that will help get better results from whatever you choose to do. And that's at lostartsradio.com/club. If you get in through that, figure out how to get your access credentials and stuff, you'll find me in the weekly meeting with you once a week to talk about all this kind of stuff, and a lot more too. We get into deeper levels of consciousness that are useful to make whatever you're doing a lot more effective. And I enjoy sharing it with you if you'd like to give it a try. No obligation, you don't have to stay there. Just come and join us. There's a lot of good people and all trying to help each other. And ultimately, what I've found is that when you do the work on yourself, get yourself in good shape, relearn natural laws of healing, that you don't need to be dependent on the medical industry except for accidents and stuff like that. There are much, much better ways to go. And that once you establish that change, there are things you can do to help change the direction that things are going in the world. And we'll talk about that too. It's pretty interesting. So I hope I'll see you there. lostartsradio.com/club. And watch for more of these free videos. Also our Sunday show with educational guests and live streams that you can keep up with on lostartsradio.com. Thanks for spending a little time with me too. Hope I'll see you at the club meeting, and I'll talk to you next time.